What is up, Virgo? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having an amazing week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, thank you for your subscriptions, your likes, your shares. You're awesome, and you're keeping this channel growing. For those of you who are new, I'm happy I'm happy you yourself has brought you here, and also that your higher self might have gotten you. I'm happy you're here. So, what we're going to be doing this week, on top of getting our shit together, is doing you're chilling. I'm going to be doing a tarot card reading for the week of October 23rd through the 29th. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So, take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, okay? So, with that being said, let's jump into it, Virgo. Your space has been cleansed. The vibes are good, and I'm almost there. What I'm going to be doing is pulling 15 cards. They're going to be in 5 groups of 3. The middle group is going to represent the nature of your problem. The upper and here's the nature of my problem. The upper left and upper right hand corners are going to represent some future outcomes you might be considering. The bottom left is going to represent some perspectives you might be thinking about in relationship to the problem. And then the bottom right is going to be any messages that your higher self would like you to know. And in case you all were curious, I'm using Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck. The imagery on these cards are really dope, so I'll make sure to show you those through. Oh, well, look at that. They're so excited they want to show you now. So, without further ado, Virgo, let's give the spirits what they want. Let me give you what you want. Let's see what is nice. Let's see what is in store for this week. I'm going to need to borrow all of this. Okay, ooh, Virgo, big energy this week. All right. See, told you the vibes were good. We're keeping it strong here. Bam, bam, bam. Awesome. Oof, look at all these knights. Okay. This is quite a spread, Virgo. Let me get this organized here, and we'll jump into it. Okay. Nice. Thank you, higher self. Let's see. Okay. So, Virgo. For the nature of your problem, I pulled the Emperor. And then the cards that came along with it are the Four of Disc and the Chariot. So this is a pretty cool spread, Virgo. So the nature of your problem this week, I feel like we're trying to come into our Emperor energy. The Emperor is, he can talk, and he is about strength, courage, authority. He's boss level. He's the male, obviously male version of the Empress, but like bringing that same type of energy that the Empress brings, but just in a more masculine sense, obviously. But I feel like, this is not a gender specific reading, because the nice thing about, us in general, us lovely humans, we have a masculine and a feminine side. Sometimes I don't remember if, because the Empress was jumping around in everybody's readings last week, or at least a good chunk. But I don't remember if she was in yours, but now, if she was, now we're getting ready to channel this. We're bossing up even further, Virgo. We're not stopping. And I feel like that's nice that it came along with this Four of Disc, because the Four of Disc is about that gaining authority, that kind of like law and order, that coming into your power, really building that foundation that you can in whatever you're getting ready to do, whether this is, you can we can be trying to be an emperor at home. We could try to be an emperor at work. Well, we could just try to be an emperor just walking down the sidewalk. But either way, you're coming into your power this week. I feel like you really are starting to just like get the reins of things, and I know this is only going to resonate with some of you, but the goal is for this to be resonating with everybody, because I want all of you to be feeling like emperors this week. So if this is not something that is resonating with you, let's all get there. Or if you're already there, dope. Let's go ahead and share some of that love around. Spread some of that emperor energy. Help uplift other people. Because it's one thing to be basking in this and to know that, like, like walking around like, yeah, I'm the shit. Like, go ahead and tell me. Yeah, if you want to stay in my circle, of course, I get it. But, something really cool to do too is to start with that. When you're feeling good, spread that to your circle, so then that they'll spread that to their circle, and then it just becomes all that permeation. This is the emperor energy just spreading all over the place. But I do feel like, once you've back on point, once you've have gotten this foundation, because that's really what I feel like more so with this. I know it says a card of power, but where there's power in stability, and that's what this energy with the Four of Discs gives me. It's a very stable energy. It has all four elements here, like the symbols of each of the elements. So it's very balanced energy too. But I feel like once you've established that energy, that balance with this Emperor energy really coming into yourself, it's going to lead to that Chariot. And listen, this Cancer, I'm a Cancer if y'all didn't know. Sometimes this Cancer doesn't know what he's talking about, but this is Cancer's card. And the Chariot is about triumph, about victory. Sometimes he could represent success, though not enduring. It might be like little victories is kind of what I'm kind of get from him sometimes. But overall, he's the nice thing about the Chariot in this deck is in most decks, what I've seen is that the Chariot is always going towards something. This is one of the first ones that I've saw that where he's at his destination. He's converted his Chariot into a throne, and now he's meditating on his victory. I love that. I really feel like that's what a nice way to put towards the end of your week into the next reading, to finish off with that Chariot. Really taking that Emperor energy, getting in that pose, and basking in the stability that you've established, because that's awesome, Virgo. That's really I really feel like getting to this place is, yeah, that's good stuff. So, I feel like for some of you, definitely take this time this week and kind of, I feel like if this is, because with the Emperor too, he calls upon a lot of confidence. So if this is, for some of you, if you're having trouble channeling this Emperor energy just because of a lack of confidence, that might be something to work on this week too, to just so that we can get comfortable feeling like a boss. Take a moment each day, whether, you're standing in the middle of your living room, standing in front of a mirror, but take like a power pose, hold your head up high, get your chin up, pop your chest out a little bit, and just like, I am the boss. Every moment I'm leveling up, not even just every day, every moment I am leveling up, and look at this. Like, hey, and then tell everyone, hey, look at this boss over here. Hey, I'm bossing up. What are you doing? So I won't stay too long in this, Virgo, but that's the kind of energy I feel like, this week. Definitely, once if you're not, if we're channeling that Emperor energy, keep it going. We're getting to that finish line. You really are. What a foundation to build, energy on is upon, that Emperor energy. But, for the rest of you, if we're still coming into that Emperor energy, hey, it's like, I'm there for you, Virgo. You're a boss, and we're going to get there. Absolutely, 100%, I believe in you. So, once you start believing in you too, I tell you, I can't wait. I'm waiting for that day. When I'm walking down the street and I just see emperors, just emperors looking for pockets of sunshine all around. That's my end goal here. So let's go ahead and move on from that, Virgo. I feel like that's pretty good. Holler at me if you need anything else. Okay, so now, while I was talking about transformation and such, let's go. Which one do I want to go with, Virgo? Let's go with, it's the future. I'm gonna end up throwing the cards everywhere anyway. So let's start with the upper left, and then we'll go from there. We'll see how long this can stay clean. So on the upper left, we have the Fool, the Six of Wands, and the Death card. So with the Fool is, I feel like, well, what better card to come up, than the Fool, trying to become this Emperor. The Fool's not just a card of, it's supposed to represent like the start of a journey, but it's more than that. This is he's not just going on this like just going on this thoughtlessly. He's going at this with like enthusiasm, journeying to the unknown. No matter he's not really afraid of what's coming. You see this tiger along the side here biting at his leg. You got crocodiles underneath, and he could easily see this stuff and be like, ooh, I don't know if this emperor energy is quite worth it. But look at this. He has such enthusiasm. You got these rainbows spiraling around him. He's super pumped for this journey. And I say he, but it's, again, this is a gender specific, or isn't a gender specific reading, and he's an androgynous figure, so it plays for both of us, for everybody. But I feel like with him, this is saying, to come when you're going at this. For some of you, when you're going with this emperor energy, or going to embark on this journey to get to your boss level, to go with enthusiasm, to go with that joy, that excitement, that because this is new, this is exciting, and that's what a goal, absolutely. So I feel like keep that in mind. The journey, there are going to be hiccups along the way, because that's just if there wasn't, it wouldn't be much of a journey. Just getting to end game, there wouldn't be any growth in the process. So learning to appreciate that growth as well. And I feel like while you're doing that along the way, you are going to find that balance, that love, that victory. The Six of Wands is just all of those things. This is really kind of really very calm, very balanced energy here. And, I feel like it's, with this being paired, coming along with the Fool, I feel like it's saying, when you're embarking on this journey, and even with the Death card being here, to not forget that love, and to keep that balance, that harmony with your energies, because with this journey, there are going to be some changes along the way. There are going to be some transformations. The Death card calls upon us to, it is that transformative energy, in the sense, because this is, it's really is like, trying to, caterpillar to butterfly, getting to this emperor here. That's gonna, this Fool's got to go through. He starts here in this larva stage. He's going in his cocoon. We're rebuilding things, restructuring, doing our death dance, and now and look at what we've evolved into. And how awesome. And then we can just sit on this throne here and, contemplate, since we've got, and we got a jumper. And see what happened? Didn't last long. But I'm coming for you, I promise, buddy. But yeah, with the Death card, and this whole decide in general, I feel like this is saying, enjoy that process, and to appreciate the change and the transformation that's going to come along with this journey, because I feel like it's going to be a very rewarding one. Victory. There's victory through going on something with embarking on the unknown with that joy. I feel like as long as your heart's in the right place, it's all going to work out. Things just always appear scarier than I feel like it needs to be, and it's just because it's the unknown. But if we focus in the present and just kind of focus on the things we can control, you find that even that control can permeate out into your reality here. So that's why I'm gonna leave that future there. Let me grab this card really quick. Behave. Okay, now on to the right hand side. So for the right hand side, I pulled the Hierophant, the Princess of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. Now with the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a card of divine wisdom, and I feel like we're gaining some divine wisdom, because look at our end game here, but I do feel like this is a card of patience, of perseverance, of even like higher learning, in the sense of like, maybe it is as with the Hierophant showing up, for some of you who are looking for examples of what Emperor energy kind of looks like, or what even leveling up might look like, maybe in whatever whatever field you're trying to level up in. This could be too, the Hierophant can be, maybe you're looking for a teacher. Maybe you need to go on, maybe we're going on YouTube. Maybe after this channel, look for some, or after watching this, maybe look to see if there's someone that you if there's someone you want to emulate, if you like what they're doing and you want to figure out how to, make that work for you and kind of take that as your own. Because I feel like, when you think about aspiring to something, I personally like to say that I'm aspiring to be my higher self. And that's not to say that what people around me are doing are less than, but that's where my end game is my higher self. But along the way, I'm taking in what everyone else is doing, and I am emulating those things that I like, and that I hold like virtuous to me. So I feel like with this being here too, if you if you're going with that wisdom of listening to your checking in with your divine teacher too, your higher self, and I hadn't thought about that with the Hierophant. This could be too, even just kind of journeying within and just kind of going on that instinct, because there's an emperor in all of us. There is that energy, but it's just coming to that wisdom, and and applying, what I'm trying to spit out is, also too with this, getting to this journey, the Hierophant can represent patience and perseverance. He personally only moves every 2,000 years, so you can move a little bit faster than that. But he does, I feel like, remind us too that, again, this is a journey, and it's, if we were, can you imagine he was already at the finish line before he started? Like, what kind of journey is that? No, it's going to take a little patience, it's going to take some strength, but the reward that you get from it, again, is rich. Now let me move on to this Princess of Swords here. Now I feel like for some of you, with this Princess of Swords showing up, you have to be careful going on this journey, because there are going to be, sometimes I feel like when we want something so bad, the universe will throw little hurdles, just to make sure, like, okay, well, I hear what you're wanting to manifest, but like today, I was trying to get this camera set up, and it's just like, this is everything to me, and it's like, I need you to work, camera, and the universe like, well, how bad do you want it to work? And then getting into that, but that whole long story in between that, there was so much frustration trying to get this thing set up, all these things, and that's what the Princess of Swords represents. She's very smart, very cunning, but sometimes she can be prone to frustration and, very destructive logic, and she can get in her own way sometimes, that, or she might, sometimes mouth might get ahead of her head, and she might say something, like kind of like a slick tongue sometimes. But ultimately, overall, her energy for me is, it's, how to keep a level head when you are your own enemy, because that's what I feel like here. You have all this, everything's like on fire. You would think she was in a war zone, but you don't see anything else around her. It's just her in this imagery. And I feel like this is saying that, this is the chaos that we can potentially create, because you have to think too, the princesses represent the earthy part of any element, and swords represent air. So she's the earthy part of air, and those are two contradictory energies. So of course there's going to be a lot of, just sometimes there's just like this internal chaos that goes on inside of us. And I feel like when she pops up, this is a reminder to, to keep that cool head. I hope that makes sense. But when we are kind of lost in that frustration, to try to figure out ways to channel that, because it really can get in our way to where, because I tell you, I was about to throw this camera, but what was that going to serve? Not only would it not be connecting, but then I have a broken camera on top of that. So, and I feel like for you, Virgo, we don't want broken cameras, whatever your broken camera moment is looking like. But, we want to be able to go about this, achieving this stuff with a clear head. And I like that. That's perfect, because that gets me to this Eight of Swords here. And the Eight of Swords here is the root of air. Again, that sword energy. And all the aces are like that. They're the root of whatever element they are. But I feel like with here, this is you trying to really kind of realizing the power that your knowledge has. This is, you got this main sword here, and behind it you have this expansive sky, and I feel like that's supposed to represent, the potential that you have with your knowledge, and that with that knowledge, this card for me too is my card of like, with great power comes great responsibility. Because you see here, think of this sword as your words, and this crown is yours. But this is to say, it's piercing that crown. So not only can your words hurt, or your intellect hurt people around you, or help, depending on how you use the sword, but it can hurt or help you as well. Because you could either see this as it's piercing the crown, or this is like the knowledge entering the crown. That's like, that still seems kind of violent, but not in the way that I'm picturing it. It's definitely less blood in my head than what's going on here. But I do feel like this is a realization of coming out of that destructive logic and seeing things with that clarity, and then going out with that, being intentional in what we're saying. Whether it be again, I feel like a good example too is them, when you're in that frustrated state, and then you get like, well, F this, and this is shitty, and blah 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 blah. You get that energy starts to ball up. You feel that anger you're just seeing red at that point. And I feel like this is just like, take a breath. Intellect, when it gets out of control, how appropriate that it's in. Let me move that up a little bit. How appropriate that this is an air sign, because, or it represents air, because it's what perfect way when you do get upset. You already feel so much better. That just brought you down, even if it's just like a half a point. That's better than we're not on 10 anymore. I can work with 9.5, because at least we're going down. And just to keep doing that, be mindful when we're using this sword, because you're becoming an emperor, Virgo. Emperors just don't fling their swords around all over the place. Emperors move they're utilizing their weapons with intention. And so I feel like that's with you too. For some of you on this other side, be patient with yourself, be compassionate with yourself, and use your skills responsibly. It's gonna be gravy. It's gonna be gravy all day, every day. Okay. That's let's move on to this bottom left corner here. Now, with this energy, that's funny that I was just talking about frustration, because you have here the 5 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, and the 10 of Swords. Now, what I feel like is because I'm gonna kind of go out of order here for a second. With this 4 of Wands here, the 4 of Wands is a card of completion. It can be a card of 2 knowledge-bringing conclusions. So, again, kind of getting to that, we're getting into that swords realm. But I feel like, for some of you, while you're, in order to get to this completed state, to get to this emperor energy, I feel like we have to deal with this 5 of Wands energy. This is a card of strife, of quarreling, of just, it gives me very frustrated energy. But it's one of those things, if you get out of your way, the energy's all lined up and it's balanced. Because what's after the 4? You got these 5 of Wands, or excuse me, we're right. I forgot I mixed things up. It's like once you get this main pillar out of your way and get this frustration, then we can get to this completed state. But in order to do that, we gotta deal with this 10 of Wands, or excuse me, 10 of Swords. And the 10 of Swords is a card of, just faulty reasoning. It's very very destructive. Another kind of destructive energy that's just gonna keeps you in your head and just leads you to ruin. I feel like that's why this, ruin is the basis of this card, because it's talking about all of the negative things and that can potentially lead us to ruin. But I honestly feel like when this pops up here, I don't feel like you're staying in this. I do feel like that this is more so focusing on that, you're realizing that, this energy that you're feeling, that this whatever that is making you frustrated, it's making you angry, whatever that is that's preventing you from getting here. I do feel like you're coming to that realization and you're getting ready to get out of your own way, because this is the sun in Gemini. Geminis are big about communication. I have a Gemini moon, and I feel like with the sun, and this is more so just kind of like intuitive, interpretation. But I feel like with the sun shining on Gemini, this gives you a chance to kind of deal with that a little bit better. Kind of find the, what am I trying to say? Try to find the words and the put a label on this energy here, because I feel like when you're in it, it's one thing to like say I'm frustrated, and then I feel like once you say that, then it just like it's a period, because it's like you get stuck in that frustration where it's like, okay, I'm frustrated. How am I going to deal with this? Usually, and this is just for me personally. Sometimes when I get, especially with like frustration and anger, it's like when they happen, it's just like, crap, I'm pretty sure I'm pissed off, period. And it's like, no, there has to be a comma. I'm frustrated. What am I going to do about that? And I feel like that's the five of wands is normally that period. I'm pissed off, period. We're trying to erase this, and we're trying to end this faulty reasoning, heralding this end of delusions here. So I do feel like you too, once you get out of your own way, that whole long thing to say, yeah, once you get out of your own way, I feel like it's going to, again, I'm always trying to bring you back to this Emperor energy. I'll stay with you in these energies as long as you need, but I am eventually, we're trying to get here. I want to get to where you're meditating and your sphinxes are, because check out all these sphinxes. I just want you chilling with your, what, we're going to call these your pets. I want you meditating with your pets and your holy grail and living it up like a boss. That's what I want for you, Virgo. So, yeah, let's move on from that. Now, with what your higher self would like you to know, your higher self has all the knights here. So, we have the Knight of Swords here, the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. So, just to further, if you didn't already have enough big energy here, we got all the knights here. Now, the thing with the knights in this deck, they can, depending on the direction that they're facing in relationship to the problem, they can represent the coming or going of energy. Now, how I pulled this here, you had the Knight of Swords and Wands were facing you, which I think that's really dope, because I feel like these two, because I can honestly talk about them together, because they have very similar energy in the sense that they're about to go out and get it. The Knight of Swords is a little more calculated in what he's doing, and he's a little less reflective. That's his only kind of caveat here. But he's once he's sure about something, he's going. He's got his source. We are game on. He even called the birds here. It is game on. And with this with the Knight of Wands too, they're both, the knights represent fire, and then, so this one's the fiery part of air, and then this one is the fiery part of fire. So he's just going in, trailblazer, going in, starting stuff, once we know, full steam ahead. And they both have that in common. Now, my caveat with the Knight of Wands is, with it, when you're going in that hot, with that kind of energy, you got to kind of be careful, because if we're kind of going in with this kind of Princess of Swords logic, then you're just going to end up burning everything around you, and then there you are, and now we got to rebuild this energy. So I feel like with both of these coming in, I feel like your higher self is saying, be full steam ahead. I do feel like, to going towards this energy, this is very much just like, yo, go for it and claim it. But, I feel like with both of them being here, just be reflective of what you're doing. because that's usually their kind of their weak point. Well, this one doesn't reflect on things, and this one just like, he's kind of can be a little gung ho or gun ho sometimes. So just be, I say go with that energy, just be intentional. That's all. Keep that Ace of Swords in mind, because this is some massive energy going through. Now, with the Knight of Cups, now this one, he's an interesting figure, because this, I feel like he was the only one that was facing away from you. And usually they'd say like this is the coming or going of energy, but I feel like in this instance, this is like, once you've I like to think of when they're facing away from you, that you're getting ready to go out and present this to the world. This is, and I love that it's the Knight of Cups, because the Knight of Cups, he is the fiery part of water, and he's very soft in his masculinity. I say of the knights, he's definitely the softest. But you see here, he's presenting this, you got this crab figure here, and that's supposed to represent the strength of like the ocean, of the water. So he's very tough in what he's doing, but he's coming at it with like a softness to it. It's not like a, hey, look at all my stuff here. He's not all in your face like that. No, he's just like, hey, check this out about this crab here. Got a little, I don't know if you can see it, got a little peacock over here. Like, it just really, I love his energy. What am I trying to say? I'm busy describing him, but how does this apply to your Emperor? What I feel like with the Knight of Cups going out is, when you're going out with this Emperor energy, I feel like the Knight of Cups is reminding you to show your strength, to show your pride, be proud of what you're doing, but there's a humbleness here, I feel like, too, with him kind of like everyone else, all the other knights except the Knight of Disc. I feel like they're all kind of like going, but this one, he's just sort of like, hey, check this out. I feel like he wants to share this strength with others. So I feel like, that's what your higher self is kind of saying. Once you've come into this, spread that love a little bit. You've been on this journey. You know what it's like to try to get to this Emperor energy. So, where'd he go? So, when you, once you've come to it and you're going out, be that Hierophant. Because what better way to solidify this energy and, really get comfortable in this than to show others how to do that. So I like that. Let's go ahead and switch back over, because I'm just making a mess over here. But so Virgo, yeah, I really hope that resonated with you. That was an interesting kind of reading, but I do like that, all these knights. That was a first for sure. But I do feel like overall, and I like their message overall. I love what your higher self is trying to say. Really, especially with him. Because he can be tricky at times. But I do feel like it is. Once you're in that Emperor, it's sharing that with others. Just like, hey. Just like I'm saying, you can be an Emperor. You know what? You go and say that to the next person, and we just keep saying that, and, eventually loop back around to me, remind me that I'm an Emperor, and I'll do the same, but it's like we'll keep doing that thing, we're all working as a community, and just beautiful, beautiful things happen. So, yeah, I won't milk that too much longer. Thank you again for sticking around. Please like, share, subscribe, and just for a clearer understanding of yourself, check your moon. Check your moon, check your rising, and I say let's check where our Jupiter placement is this week. And see how that's kind of plays into effect with you. Or you know what? No, even better. Let's check. No, you know what? Yeah, we'll check our Jupiter this week, and then I got next week's figured out. But figure that out this week, because I feel like any way to learn more about yourself, it's gonna make it that much easier to channel this Emperor energy. Okay, now on to Celestial News Weekly. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Okay, so big busy week this week. Got 2 pages, so I'm not gonna keep you too long. So, um, on the 23rd of this week, you have Saturn going direct. And all that means is, and did I say on the 23rd? Yes, I did. So this, with Saturn going back in direct, it's been in retrograde for a while, but now with it going back on its course, it'll be there's a period of time. I'll have to look into what the exact dates are, but it's usually like a week or two after a retrograde happens that they might linger in. There might be some like retrograde shadow effects going on. Gets a little nuanced. Well, I'll go more into that definitely as the channel grows, but with Saturn going direct, might bring up a time of just like bring up fears and pressures and just kind of like just like that anxiety might kind of build up a little bit. But I feel like it's one of those things with it's applying Saturn's applying that stuff so that you can work through that, so that you can with hard work, discipline, mastery can be achieved. Emperor. That's what Saturn wants you to get at the end of the day. It's not going to put a bunch of shit on you just for no reason. It wants you to become an emperor. It absolutely, and that's and to say, and to stay motivated, because it's one of those things. We're getting towards the end of the year. Keeping that energy strong always. That's what I'm getting. That's pretty much what Saturn direct is about. Let's move on from that. Also on the 23rd, there's a lot going on the 23rd. Venus will be entering Scorpio at this time, and that's a time for like forming of. Not a time for talking. It's a time for forming meaningful and deep relationships. And really kind of this really isn't that time for like if you notice you got a lot of like superficial things going on. This is really not that kind of time. This is really something if you've been wanting to just like I don't know, just like invest a little bit more in your circle. I feel like this is a good time to just like build that where'd it go really kind of build up on that foundation again and really kind of wholly invest into that. So that's Venus in Scorpio. The Sun is also entering Scorpio, and this is like kind of digging beneath the surface and uncovering hidden truths for that transformation. Because we're getting in. When this drops, we're in Scorpio season, so this is going to be a very transformative time. You got. And think about it too. You got what? I think it's Day of the Dead, Halloween, All Saints Day. This is a very, very transformative time. The veil is thin between the spirit world and our, in the material world. It's that time. This Scorpio season. It's going to be a lot of transformations going on, but not in a scary way, for a good way. Lastly. Little fun fact. I won't get into too much about this yet, just because it's so jam packed. Juno is going to be going direct, and for those of you who aren't familiar, Juno is one of the 4 major asteroids, and it's supposed to represent the different feminine aspects of, the different aspects of the feminine spirit. And Juno in particular represents it's a partnering energy and about intimate relationships. So this kind of ties in nicely too with that Venus in Scorpio as well. This is really, really going to be a good time to just like sit down with any loved ones, families, partners, friends, whatever. This is a good time for just some real nurturing, deep conversation. Just like really, really getting back into that. Just getting back in that. I'll have a word for that in a minute. Okay. On the 12th, we're almost there. I'm getting there. On the 25th, there's a new moon solar eclipse. It's a partial new moon solar eclipse. I tell you, English. Now, solar eclipses in general bring about just new beginnings or kind of like unexpected news, but with it happening in Scorpio is a kind of time for of just like passion, focusing on the constructive traits of Scorpio season. Passion, resourcefulness, depth, perceptivity, and like how to incorporate that into our lives. It's a really thoughtful time when you think about it. This is a good time to just like really do some good growing. So I feel like while get some more divine wisdom. This is a good time. I feel like to really check in with that. So yes, two more things. The 28th, Jupiter retrograde enters Pisces, and what this is during this time, it's like there's going to be an expansion. Oh, it happens on the 28th. If I didn't say that, it kind of expands our awareness and like for like of our spirituality and our compassion. So this is going to be this next probably couple of weeks is just going to be a very good time for just some real good nurturing. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be we're in for a good we're in for a good season. Last but not least, on October 29th, Mercury is going to be, because everybody wants it. Scorpio's holding a party, everyone's invited. Mercury enters Scorpio, and this is a time to talk about any difficult issues regarding relationships, money, even mortality, any sort of like something that, whatever would be like taboo, because Scorpio it's about, kind of, getting those, they're about depth, really getting into, learning those secrets and, exposing that, but not in like a look at, put your shit on display. More so like just to bring some of that deep stuff to light and, kind of help accept those darker sides or, give those sides some space that we tend to neglect. So that's pretty much everything that's going on with the news. So keep that in mind. I like that this, I like that this is a very kind of deep, meaningful kind of time, because I really feel like, that's really gonna apply here too with this King of Cups energy. So yeah, Virgo, let me get you your surprise card. Appreciate you hanging out with me. Nice. Four of Cups. Okay, so with the Four of Cups, I will say with this one, usually the cups are generally positive. They deal with like emotional matters and whatnot. But with the Four of Cups, it's one of those things I feel like the Four of Cups calls us to appreciate what we have and not take it for granted. It represents like, it's like you pleasures, but there's like this low level of anxiety. It's a very conflicting card. This the Four of Cups, but I do feel like it's just like not taking. I really do feel like it's just like not taking things for granted. Really appreciating what you have and not just like, you glorify it for 1 minute and then when it gets old, you're just kind of discarding it. It's just like, okay, well, I became an emperor. It's been pretty fun for a while, but now I'm tired. Like, I want to do. That's a bad example. What's a better example, Virgo? You know what? Let's do this in terms of a person. So, you have that one good friend that you always, let's say that you always lean on, that they're your go-to, if you got any kind of thing that you need to get off your chest. I feel like, maybe this could be with how this season is, with us coming into, where the energies are at and all this stuff. This could be a good time too to let that person that you do appreciate them, that to not let this to let them know that you're not taking them for granted, because that's really what this energy I feel like with the Four of Cups. Just be mindful of the things that you hold dear and to not let them to get this like boring sense or that this thing that you just don't like. Four of Cups, like whatever, like yeah, it's pretty, but I could get Four of Cups anywhere. You're diminishing its value some. So I feel like that's not a bad thing to end on. Make sure to gratitude. I feel like that's I like that. We're gonna leave that there. So thanks again, Virgo. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Until the next one, let's keep raising the vibration. I'll catch you next time. Later. Oh, maybe. Let's